I'm Kathleen Henderson from Roots and Boots, and I am going to show you our baby food forest. A very simple definition of a food forest is basically many plants, including trees, planted close together, all of them bearing food. So here we have what would normally be an orchard. It is a group of fruit trees, but we have begun planting other plants in between and among our fruit trees here in order to create a food forest. So the idea is that over time it will continue to grow bigger and taller. All of the plants will fill in and it will change over time. So right now our fruit trees are still on the small side. Some of them are headed into their 5th growing season. Some of them are headed into their 4th growing season. So they've been here a few years and they're still young. They're not really producing much of a harvest for us yet. As they grow bigger and branch out more, of course there will be less sun on the ground around their trunks. So right now we still have a lot of sun and we can grow more things there. As time goes on, we'll have more shade and that will change a little bit of how we plant in this food forest. But let me show you some of the trees and plants in our permaculture orchard or our food forest. We do have 4 mature apple trees over in this area that came with the farm when we moved here 4 years ago. And then we added all these other smaller trees. We've added peach trees and more apple trees and pear trees and an almond tree. And up at the front we have plum trees. And then around each tree, we have created a fruit guild. This is a smaller one where you can maybe see each of the plants more clearly. I planted my garlic here in the fruit guilds around, I think, every tree and even some of the bushes. Comfrey is a great plant to add to a fruit guild. I actually have an entire video about planting a fruit guild, so you can look for that for more details. This is thyme. That's a good one because it stays low to the ground, so later when we want to get in here to access and harvest fruit, thyme is a great plant because we can step on it. And there are a bunch of little baby comfrey seedlings that have seeded when the big comfrey has dropped its leaves. And then in between our baby fruit trees, we have planted things like Goumi berries. They're actually ripe right now. When they turn dark red, you can harvest the berries. It's a little time consuming, labor intensive to harvest Goumi berries, and we're still learning what to do with them. They have a sweet tart taste, but the reason why they're great in a permaculture orchard or a food forest is that they are nitrogen fixers. So they bring nitrogen up to the top layers of the soil where the tree roots can access that nitrogen. And they're great for wildlife. They provide cover for birds. Birds are great to have around because they eat the bad bugs, and they also, in addition to providing cover, they provide food for the birds with the berries. So here is just another tree. I think, oh, it does have its label. This is a pear tree. So this is a pear tree gilded again with comfrey. There's some garlic and some thyme. We have more Goumi berries. We have, I think, in this food forest 4 Goumi berry bushes. This is the one that's doing the best. I think it probably gets the most sun. It's the biggest at any rate. This is just kind of a different view of the food forest. And then little by little, we are adding more and more wood chips between the plantings. We started doing this just for ease of tending the grass that's still here, because it was difficult to get between some of the trees with a lawnmower or a weed eater. So we just joined them all together with wood chips, and we will little by little continue expanding the wood chips and even using that space to plant more food. For example, right here in this area, I have planted sweet potato slips. Some of them are hard to see because I literally just planted them a few days ago and they're still getting established. I hope they do okay here. These wood chips have been here for at least a year. In some areas here, the wood chips have been there for longer than a year and have started to break down and create good soil below. but below the wood chips is our terrible compacted clay that we have here in Northern Virginia. So I'm not sure how the sweet potatoes are going to do here in the food forest. I have planted other sweet potatoes elsewhere on our property with better soil, but I do know that planting sweet potatoes here in this food forest will help to break up that clay. So while we may not get a great sweet potato yield here in the food forest this year, it will help to improve our soil over time. Over here we have honeyberries. This is a honeyberry bush surrounded by lots of garlic. We have not gotten a harvest from our honeyberries yet. Over there we have more Goumi berries. I'm pretty sure that's a plum tree up in the corner. And then we have transplanted some elderberry side shoots from our existing elderberry bushes right up there and over yonder. And then here, of course, are the mature apple trees. It's hard to see, but around the mature apple trees, I planted daffodils last fall. So that was fun to have those come up this spring, and that's why it's all grassy and weedy here, because we are waiting for the daffodil foliage to die back before we cut this grass. In some of the fruit guilds, I also have bee balm. This bee balm is a beast. I have never seen bee balm get so tall. It's almost as tall as I am. It comes up almost to my shoulder, some of it. But that's a great one to have in a fruit guild because it draws pollinators and beneficial insects, and it's perennial, so it comes back every year. Then one more thing to show you here in the food forest is our kiwi vines. This is so fun. We have a male and a female, and we constructed a trellis with 4x4s and stretched wire across the top, and this is the first year that they really seem to be taking off and climbing on this wire. So that's exciting for us. They've been here for 4 growing seasons, headed into their 5th growing season, and it can take 7 years or even more to get a harvest of kiwis. Now, these are not the big fuzzy kiwis that you buy at the grocery store. These are a hardy kiwi that make a smaller fruit about the size of a large grape, and we're told that each vine can produce up to 100 pounds of fruit once it really gets going. The fruit, like I said, is about the size of a large grape, and it's smooth skinned, and you can pop the entire thing into your mouth. So doesn't that sound like fun? We're excited about it. The kids like to joke because it takes so long to get to the harvest. They like to joke that when they grow up, they'll bring their kids back to eat kiwis. And that is our permaculture orchard, or our food forest. It will be fun to watch it grow and mature in the years ahead. I think we're gonna get some peaches this year. We've already gotten Goumi berries, and of course I already have my garlic planted here, and we'll see what happens with the sweet potatoes this year. Stay tuned to my channel, subscribe if you haven't done so yet, to catch future updates on this food forest and all of the other gardens and goings on around our homestead here at Roots and Boots Homestead.